It seems to me that something is fundamentally wrong with the capitalist system in which we live in relation to sustainability.
Sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs.
This definition was developed by the United Nations in 1987. However, the form of sustainability that we experience in our society does not do this. It almost pretends to be sustainable.
Take, for example, the following ad by FedEx.
To be more environmentally aware, we are now printing on the backsides of used paper. And we switched to FedEx, because a lot of their packaging contains recycled materials. Tell them what else FedEx does.
Well, we're now using more electric trucks and lower emission planes. We even offer a reusable envelope.
Now, can't we at least print on the backsides of used paper?
What's the executive compensation list?
Sustainable solutions. FedEx. Solutions that matter.
FedEx is a corporate company whose business practice inherently lacks sustainability. They thrive on the use of paper boxes and energy consumption to deliver packages. While their packaging may be produced from recycled materials, their business model has them producing more goods, becoming less sustainable as more people ship items.
Walmart and all these other corporations can have a really energy efficient truck fleet. They can have really energy efficient buildings, but they keep building new ones, and they keep judging their success on increases in sales every 3 months. I mean, it's a relentless kind of growth. So inside the corporate system, we might change light bulbs and we might become more efficient, but I think that it's dramatically problematic institution. There is something called Jevons paradox, which suggests that efficiency isn't even a good way of becoming sustainable, because becoming more efficient at using a resource actually leads to using more of the resource. So as we got more efficient at mining coal was consumed at a higher rate. Right? So efficiency sometimes is simply a way of getting to this stuff and using it more quickly. So this idea that somehow we can efficiency our way out of the environmental problems, I think, actually in some cases makes matters worse. The status quo isn't working. I think sustainability has to be far more radical than trying to make sure there are enough resources for future generations. I mean, that's a good idea, but it doesn't ask us to really examine how we got into this problem to begin with. So for me, sustainability is, first of all, a recognition that we are living in an unsustainable culture, and that in order to become sustainable, we'll have to radically reorganize, restructure our cultural assumptions about ourselves and about the world. These are revolutionary times, which means we cannot solve our problems inside of the cultural systems in which we live. And capitalism, as hard as it tries to be sustainable, still requires that it grows every 3 months. Right? There has to be economic growth. We can't survive on a planet that is run by institutions that have to grow every 3 months. And yet now we're still struggling to keep capitalism going no matter what. How deep do you have to go to fix the problem? And the radical says you have to go right down to the bottom and fix it. Right? I have a dripping faucet in my house, let's say. Right? So that's easy. It looks like I can usually fix a dripping faucet right at the faucet. Right? Well, maybe the dripping faucet is because there's a valve further down the line that has to be fixed. Fixing a valve is a little bit more work. But maybe the problem is down in the basement, right? Or something having to do with the water that's coming in, right? So where is the fix that's required to fix the problem that we're trying to solve? The fixes aren't at the faucet anymore. They're down at the basement. We really need to look at the data. Human population, climate change, species extinction, soil erosion, peak oil, all of these various data points, and see that we're really in a pickle. There's no easy backing out. There's no easy adjustments that can be made, it seems to me, that can reduce or reverse these catastrophic changes that are going on. We have to admit first that these are revolutionary times, that we really have to remake some of the critical institutions in our society. Capitalism, for one, to be sure. We probably need to create a new economic system that's as radically different as capitalism was from feudalism, right? So, and people would say, well, how can we do that? Well, we did it already. We've done it. Anyway, it's so that's what this is basically calling people at least to admit that the status quo isn't working. Which is to say, I guess, that capitalism in the 18th century seemed to be a pretty good system. I mean, a cultural change that what makes our culture unsustainable is the way we think about the world, and we think about the world still as ours, our property, our stuff, and that somehow humans are these grand manipulators, and we deserve to manipulate it. We own the earth, etc., etc. One criticism is that we don't have time for this, but I think I think the cultural change that we need will require time, and it's the only, in my opinion, it's the only real so-called solution to this problem. There is, if we are willing to also put limits around those, around that bridge. That is, I think, and this is not my idea, it's actually Wes Jackson's idea, maybe others have it too. If we think we have to use less oil and natural gas in the future, and we can't suddenly stop using it, nations, maybe nations is the best way to do it, nations need to put some kind of cap, an annual cap on the amount of energy they use. And we can do that at the wellhead, port of entry. We can say every year the United States is going to use 3% or 5% less oil. Not more American oil, less oil. This bridge is available to us if we are disciplined as we go down the bridge. I see no discipline right now in the world. That people are trying to become more efficient, but most countries are not willing to set caps that would sort of lock in every year to ramp us down. We don't know what the answer is. There needs to be people that are experimenting with these things. I think we need that kind of visionary work in economics, engineering, across the board. So we have people in the streets saying, no, we need a better world, and we need people wherever they are, in their offices or in their labs, coming up with some new big ideas. The nation state is a relatively new concept. The Treaty of Westphalia, 1580 something, whatever it was, created the concept of a nation. Maybe it's time to get rid of the nation. Maybe one of our problems is that we can't solve these problems globally because we have all these nations, and each nation is sovereign. That's what the Treaty of Westphalia said. So maybe we need, first of all, to reconceptualize the world in terms of regions. I mean, I'm not sure what it would look like, but you know, as long as China's a nation and the United States is a nation, and we're both sovereign, we're going to fight over the resources, and very likely we'll go to war in the next 20 years over resources if those resources become too scarce. I don't see a system out there yet that's on the shelf that would be ready to go. I don't see the political or the economic system that's so clearly so clearly superior to capitalism. You know, as somebody once said, you know, either we ramp ourselves down or nature ramps us down.